Hey everyone, it's Lisa Bongean from Primitive Gatherings, and I am so close to finishing up the borders on Summer Romance, but I thought I'd pop in one more time to talk to you about this. Now, this is a big feat when you're putting on your borders, and we kind of talked about it in the first part of the border video. But now that I have all the borders on, I just want to point out a few things, okay? So when you're looking at, I've put the borders on, and I just want to point out how sometimes things aren't exactly perfect, all right? And you just got to kind of go with the flow and do what you need to do to make it work. And I had to do that on a couple of these borders. And it's probably because in my older age, I'm not so patty perfect anymore. I could just kind of, and I was working in this really small area when I was putting these borders on during our video. So I think maybe that might have hindered because I didn't have my big open space that I'm used to working in. But whatever the reason, I just want to show you that it's going to be all okay. So when you put your border corners on and you're attaching the last top and bottom and you're marrying them with the side borders, I want to show you some of the things that can happen. So this is the first one that I have for you right here. And you see how this one comes nicely around, but then I think what I might have did is I might have trimmed my border a little bit differently than I should have. So if that happens to you as well, just kind of gracefully make this turn here and then add your leaves on and then let this flower cover up that join there. So now I only have to stitch the outer edges here of the flowers and a few leaves that I just added on there. So then let's go to the next corner. So then I have this corner here. Now this one, I think, is probably the nicest corner that I had done. I got a little bit wider out there, and there's my join between the two. So this one is perfectly fine, not any little wiggles or anything like that. So then let's go to this one. Here is the one. Okay, so when I got this one on, I must have put this flower a little bit lower, or again, it was a cutting. When I trimmed this border before I put it on, I might have taken a smidge too much off. So I only have 5 leaves here, but who's going to see that? All right. If somebody notices that, they're really looking very hard. But I just want to have some full disclosure here that sometimes this happens. Now, could I rip this out and maybe make that work? I could, but I'm not going to because I'm perfectly fine with this happening. All right, then I'm going to finish this last one here on camera so you can kind of see how that works. All right, so I'm going to get it in the right spot here. All right, Kaylee's helping me get it positioned for the camera. Okay, so I have my extra leaves that go on. I'll try to flatten it out nicely. Pull off all the little fuzzes from the back. All right, so here's how this one's going to join. You see that? And then I have a couple more flowers, or a couple more leaves there to put on. So when I stitch this, just kind of a little thing, like when you're done stitching your flower and you still have some thread left, I go and thread the middle because now I can use this for the knots that go in the middle. And as long as I'm talking about knots right now, make sure you look over your quilt really good to see if you missed anything. I know I have one spot where I missed some stitching on a leaf, like I must have ended there and never finished it. So I put a pin in my things that I need to go back and revisit. And then I had one where one of my leaves must have fell off and I didn't catch that. But, and then all of your corners, you have to go then and finish those good. So then this one is pretty nice here. And then how are these going to go? This one's going to go that way. Oh, I got to get the paper off. And I got to sneak that one in there. You see how it's kind of tight? So we're going to get that one, paper off here. And then let's see how we're going to fit that flower in there. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to give it one old big steam here at the end. And then we should all be set to finish up the stitching in the corners, and it can be off to the quilter. All right, looks good, right? So when you work with the Laura Star, you have to purge it. So I'm just going to come on and give it a couple little steams here. All right, so now I am ready to go and finish all of my corners, but I hope you feel better after you watch this that if things aren't exactly perfect, it's okay, all right? Because only God is perfect. Our quilts do not have to be. All right, that's all I have for you then on Summer Romance. I can't wait to see your quilts finished, and make sure you post them on our Stitch with Lisa Bongean Facebook group.